On 610 CHTM.
Good morning and welcome to City Beat. I'm your host, Jaret Schneider, and joining me today is Mayor Tim Johnston. Welcome, Mayor Johnston.
Good morning.
Good morning, and before we get into any questions, I'll give you a chance to run things down from the past week as well as anything that might be coming up this weekend or this week.
Well, I was out of the city last week, so I don't have a lot to update in terms of activities that I was able to attend. I can tell you that Council held its regular meeting on Monday night, and I'm sure we'll get into some of the topics that were discussed there. But notice that this weekend is going to be a very busy weekend here in Thompson with a number of different events taking place. Encourage people to drop by and support a number of the different activities. We know that Friday, I think the Northern Pet Rescue is having an event. Saturday, certainly the Surviving the Cold as well as Family Literacy Day take place at the City Centre Mall. And then at the Thompson Regional Community Centre, there's going to be a variety of events taking place. The North Stars, I believe, are in town again this weekend against Eastman, as well as some of the other organizations, Mans Bonspiel, as well as I think Skate Thompson is on. So it's going to be a busy weekend. I understand the weather's going to be a little bit better, so I encourage people to get out and take advantage of the activities that are in and around the community.
All right, so going into council now, the grant in lieu was approved by council on Monday, and it was approved by school board on Tuesday as well. What is this new $1 million deal going to do from Valet, and what's it going to mean for the city here moving forward into the future and in the next 5 years of the deal?
Well, I think it was a very good deal for all the parties, and it was a deal that was created based on an understanding at the table that we needed to support each other and that we needed to support Thompson for a long-term sustainable future. So I was very pleased with the participation of each of the stakeholders and their input, and the level of respect and professionalism that took place at those discussions. In terms of what I believe it means for the community, I've said there's three key elements to the agreement. First is there's a confirmed level of funding in each of the next 5 years. So where in the past agreement the amount of funding was based on production, this agreement is not. It is a firm commitment to $6 million in each of the 5 years for a total of $30 million at that point. The second thing that I think that, from my perspective, was very important is that the term has been reduced from a 10-year period in the previous agreement to a 5-year. And the reason I think that's positive is that it will allow all the parties to have greater flexibility in reacting or responding to change that's taking place over a shorter period of time. So I think that's positive. And the third big ingredient for me is that this agreement introduces, for the first time, a infrastructure fund of $3 million that will be used to improve again the major infrastructure in the community, and we're going to work together. We've established criteria on that. It's designed to make Thompson a better place to live. So I think the discussion was very positive, as I said, and I think the outcome is very good for this community, and I hope will give confidence to residents that there is a long-term plan and a long-term vision of each of the stakeholders in terms of the future of Thompson.
204-677-8181, taking your calls to the mayor. 204-677-8181. We want to hear from you. You mentioned the $3 million going to infrastructure. What types of things will this money help the city with, and where will we see it going in the future in the next 5 years or so?
Well, we're just in the process of doing our capital budget for this coming year, but we have incorporated the funding into the budget. I can tell you that the policy that council has said is that we've spread the funding over each of the 5 years, so it's an allocation of $600,000 a year. And this year, I think you're going to see us take a look at some of the continuation of the projects, the work with respect to sidewalks, road work, and that's in terms of making Thompson again a more walkable community, especially in and around the schools, as well as improving some of the infrastructure. What I believe the fund will do is that we used to spend roughly $600,000 a year when I first got on council, and we used to have to tax for it. Today, what we're able to do is we're spending probably $800,000, and we do it by way of largely the federal gas tax transfer, the Municipal Revenue Act, in terms of the revenue earned off of accommodations. And now we also have this fund. So we've moved from direct taxation on an annual basis for infrastructure projects to where we are able to fund those with outside sources. And what it will really do is mean we can probably double the amount of work we're doing, which means when we look at roads and sidewalks and a 30-year plan to replace them, we start to speed that up. And I think that that's the real big benefit. And so you're going to start to see more work being done in terms of the infrastructure projects. And then, of course, we've got the utility that self-funds that. So I think that one of the things I'm very, very pleased with is that the way we've been able to access funds other than direct taxation on an annual basis, to really take a serious swipe at correcting the infrastructure problem that we have in Thompson. And so I think that we've made some real good progress there.
204-677-8181. You mentioned the city now moving away towards valet. What will this deal do for valet and the future of valet in Thompson in the next 5 years or so?
Well, again, I think that at the table we talked about making the deal sustainable for everyone. I think it gives them a firm understanding of the level of funding that they've committed to, and I think it fits into their longer-range plan for valet's role in Thompson. And I think that, again, from my perspective, I'm hoping this is one of the first positive announcements that we're going to see regarding the long-term future of Thompson as a very strong mining community.
204-677-8181. The cold weather policy was a hot topic at council on Monday as well. The resolution for it got approved. So what will we see this new policy, or what will this new policy mean when it comes to the homeless population and to the homeless shelter moving forward in the next, the few winters or so?
Well, I think what it does is it provides the capacity to deal with the homeless issue that we face in this community, and I hope what it does is provide a greater degree of safety for people that are out on the streets in this community. So, yeah, it was an interesting debate. I understand the positions, and each councillor I respect coming to the table with their position. But I think overall we have to understand this is a real problem, and you have to have real solutions. I think this is a very creative solution in terms of using an asset that the city has that won't impact other programming that we use the asset for. And we're going to ensure that there is a safe place for individuals on extremely cool nights. I'd encourage people, and I trust we'll get it up on the website as soon as possible, to look at the policy itself and maybe ensure that they know the facts. I understand there's lots of rumors and lots of rhetoric out there. Please take a look at the policy, know the facts, and I think that the community will support it, because I think we are a compassionate, tolerant, and caring community. So I look forward to getting the program up in place. We're going to depend on some other partners to make it happen, and I think that's the way it should be.
All right, we do have a caller from Fred. Fred, please ask your question and hang up to hear the response.
Yes, I was just wondering if the mayor would comment on if there's so much optimism about the long-term sustainability in the community, why the housing market has gone so stagnant.
Well, it's a good question. I mean, I think that, and I had a chance to talk to an individual from the housing realty yesterday. I think that there's a couple things. I think that there's still some real concern in terms of confidence in where Thompson's going to be heading. I'm the first to admit that, and I think that's why we have to get some positive announcements, and so people can regain that confidence. I think the other one is, quite frankly, we're into that time of the year as well when a lot of housing doesn't move. I'm not going to diminish that I think that there still is primarily a confidence factor in terms of the long-term future of the community, but I think that that's going to turn around. We've seen additional housing added, and again, I think that if we can get some more positive announcements, you're going to see the housing market come back. There's always been fluctuations in Thompson. I've been here for a long time. It depends on the community's confidence in where we are economically, and right now, no doubt about it, we've been in a low for probably the last 2 years certainly, and if you take a look at the cycles in this community, we go through lows, we go through highs. The highs are usually a little bit longer than the lows, usually 2 to 3 times, and I'm thinking that this low probably, I've said it, I think that we have to be cautious over the next 12 to 18 months. I'm hoping to be able to adjust that to probably 6 to 12 months, and then I start to see absolutely the economic future of this community will take an upswing as it has done in the past. I'm confident of that.
204-677-8181. Thank you to Fred for the call. Michelle Driley was at council on Monday giving her report from the new TEDWIG process and the new place branding strategy. So would you be able to tell us where we are with that? I know it will be wrapping up here in the end of June.
Well, and I think that, this relates to Fred's question. What are those things that are happening out there that might be able to contribute to the upswing from an economic point of view? I think the TEDWIG process, Thompson Economic Diversification Working Group, has been one of those things that will contribute to the upswing. I think that the reports that are coming out with respect to branding, which is the last project that is currently underway and will continue probably to June, but then we'll start to position Thompson, because one of the real challenges that we face from an economic point of view is the perception that many people have of Thompson, especially the investment community outside of this community, that we are still a single industry town. And I think what Tedwig has clearly proven is that we are emerging as a service center, that we have a future in terms of providing services, whether they're government related in terms of health, education, justice, or whether they're driven by commercial services in terms of retail and other business or entrepreneurial ventures. So I think the Tedwig process has proven there's a tremendous upside for the future of Thompson, and we'll continue to work on that. Really where Tedwig is moving is now into the implementation. I think some of the reports, especially the one on the regional infrastructure plan and the education component, are due out in early February, and then as I said, the last one is the branding, and that I think is very important in terms of how we position this community, and I truly look forward to seeing the results of the work that the group is doing on branding.
204-677-8181. It's been almost a 2-year process now, so after June, when it is all done and said for, what changes will we see around the city? What types of things can we hope to see in the future of Thompson after this whole thing is done with?
Well, I think the Tedwig work reinforces the need for Thompson to continue in terms of the community sustainable plan, to continue to grow, to continue to provide housing options, to continue to look at ourselves as the regional service center, based on a very strong mining economy. So I think that what it does is it reinforces our need to be aggressive, to move forward, and to continually invest in ourselves and ensure that we are a strong investment for others that are looking at investing in communities. So to me, we continue on the track we're going. We continue to use the plans we have, but we have to ensure we position Thompson right, and that we become a little bit more aggressive in terms of going out and getting or attracting capital and investment into Thompson.
All right, that'll pretty much do it for City Beat this week, but before we go, I'll give you a minute to wrap things up.
Well, I don't really have much. Again, as I said earlier in the show, I'd encourage people to get out and enjoy the weekend. I guess two things from a city point of view. One is that we are seeing an increase in terms of water breaks and things like that recently, as well as the amount of crews that are on the street due to snow and that. So I encourage people to visit the website or visit or listen for the PSAs regarding work that's being done, and urge caution and safe operations in and around our equipment. And the other one I urge is, again, there's been some real discussion on many different items. I enjoy debate. I enjoy discussion. I've urged council to ensure we keep it respectful, professional, and keep the emotions out of it and focus on the issue. But I encourage residents to get the facts. Go to the website, look at the media releases, talk to your councillors, get the facts, and then absolutely get involved in the discussion, because it is only with the input of the community as a whole that will make Thompson a better place to live.
And that will do it for City Beat this week. Make sure to tune in every Thursday at 11:30 for more insight into your municipal government and another chance to ask questions to the mayor. And to all the listeners, have a great rest of your day.
City Beat will be back next Thursday morning at 11:30.